We are kicking off with WWE as the company recently released talent including Jinder Mahal, Xia Li, Zion Quinn, Von Wagner, and Cameron Grimes, and now more releases have taken place. PW Insider reports the WWE has released Ezekiel Balgoon, Julian Baldy, Trey Bearhill, and Emma Maria Dia, who garnered attention through the WWE Roku series WWE Next Gen. Valentina Feroz, Drew Gulak, Keyshawn LaFleur, Daryl Mason, Vlad Pavlenko, and Kia Saint have also been let go from WWE as the company continues to adjust its talent pool. Boa was released from WWE this week as well after joining in September 2016 following WWE's first ever Chinese tryout, which also resulted in Xia Li being hired. While some names released gained attention through the Roku show, others were active competitors in NXT, and then there's the situation with Gulak. Drew Gulak's departure may not come as a shock to fans, particularly in light of allegations made by Ronda Rousey, but it is nonetheless saddening. These releases have sparked speculation about the future of the NXT brand, and we'll have to see what impact these departures have on the show moving forward. Wrestlers being released is never fun, and we hope that those cut find a promising opportunity elsewhere once their non-compete clauses expire. Being a superstar may not have been in the cards for Emma Maria Dia, but on Twitter, she expressed her gratitude for her time in NXT and was proud of what she's done. Dia added that she's also now taking independent bookings as the ex-superstar is wasting no time in rebuilding herself outside of WWE. Over to SmackDown as WWE's ongoing QR code mystery continued this week with a reference to the man behind Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas. The QR code appeared during the entrance of Angel before his match with L.A. Knight, and the code leads to what initially appears to be an error page on WWE.com. There's also a video that initially seems like a simple promo clip for SmackDown before it takes a darker turn and shows a woman stood alone in a dilapidated room. The video contains the message, "He opened his arms, our pain became his, we were reborn, because we believed." But the final word glitches and transforms into "Bo-lieved." This references Dallas's early career in WWE, where he portrayed an overly enthusiastic motivational speaker, and is the most direct reference yet to Bo's involvement. A WWE camera operator also filmed a bizarre scene at SmackDown with eerie music and fans holding up the fireflies, and what do you think of these videos? Let us know down below. Another name once associated with Bray Wyatt is Matt Hardy, who has been sharing the QR codes on Twitter, with fans speculating that he will be involved. On his Extreme Life podcast, Matt discussed the QR code teases, as well as one that refers to broken people, which some have seen as a nod to Hardy. He said, "I did catch that. Interesting, very, very interesting. I have a very long and storied history with Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt, so I think it's cool how the word broken somehow slipped in there. Who knows? Anything can happen in the extreme life of Matt Hardy." Some believe that a faction is in the works, one that could involve Hardy, Bliss, Uncle Howdy, the retired Eric Rowan, and others, and we'll have to see what's to come. On SmackDown, Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles came face-to-face ahead of their title match, and after last week's show of respect, fans were curious as to what they'd see. Styles said that while Cody had people watching his back at WrestleMania 40, Styles had to fight and beat those same people on his way up the mountain. AJ added that Cody ran when things became tough and made the Stardust hand gesture, while Styles had to work just to get in WWE in 2016. Cody praised Styles and said it felt like AJ was trying to talk himself up, and noted that the Backlash match will be too sweet in a nod to the Bullet Club. Rhodes and Styles were poised to give too sweet hand gestures before Styles ruined the moment by slapping Rhodes in the face. This segment helped build some intensity towards their match, even if the result is a foregone conclusion, and expect an epic main event at Backlash later today. Randy Orton hosted the first ever RKO show on SmackDown, and he and Kevin Owens were confronted by Paul Heyman before being blindsided by Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. Before the show came to a close, the two sides were involved in another brawl backstage with WWE officials and security guards on hand to try and stop the fight. Owens even nailed the enforcer with a steel chair, and with tensions boiling and Jacob Fatu expected to debut soon, this could make for interesting scenes at Backlash. After SmackDown went off the air, Cody Rhodes appeared before the crowd in France once more and thanked the crowd for being wonderful all night long. Rhodes vowed to give everything in his match with Styles and asked that the fans do the same, stating that, "We do this together." The crowd in Lyon were raucous all night long, and if SmackDown is any indicator, then Rhodes will certainly get his wish at Backlash. It was at WrestleMania that Cody Rhodes finally finished his story and won the undisputed WWE Championship in an emotional main event in Philadelphia. Since his victory, though, Rhodes has had just one match on TV, which saw him beat Carmelo Hayes in non-title action, leaving fans to wonder what's next for Cody post-Bloodline. The answer to that is not very much, as Bryan Alvarez reports that there is no big-time direction for Rhodes until The Rock and Roman Reigns return to WWE TV. The report did speculate on the possibility of Rhodes facing his old legacy mentor Randy Orton, but noted that WWE has done nothing to tease anything in that direction. While Rhodes may not be building to something big just yet, he has been outworking every single male superstar in WWE, as he's competed in 40 matches so far in 2024. The American Nightmare boasts an impressive 38-2 record, and for the women, Kairi Sane is the Iron Woman with 32 matches and a record of 7-24-1. The American Nightmare never fails to compete at every single live event and stay long after to interact with fans, and another sign that WWE picked their next top face very wisely. As for on TV, Rhodes will face AJ Styles at Backlash, but until Rock and Reigns return, don't expect any massive changes for the American Nightmare. Back to SmackDown, which saw Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Bayley face Damage Control and Tiffany Stratton, with Belair getting the win for her team. Unfortunately, following the match, Corey Graves let slip that there'd be new Women's Tag Team Champions at Backlash, spoiling the result for the title match set to take place. That match will see the Kabuki Warriors put their titles on the line against Jade and Belair, and this was a monumental slip-up for someone as experienced as Corey Graves. It remains to be seen if this will cause WWE to change directions at the last minute and have the current champions retain their titles. More from WWE Backlash now, as the show will be quite the show, but with only 5 matches announced, many of WWE's top names won't be on the card. LA Knight won't be competing after he failed to become #1 contender for the undisputed WWE title, and it'll be AJ Styles who faces Cody Rhodes instead. Gunther is also not involved despite the warm response he received at recent live events, and the man who beat him at WrestleMania, Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn, is also out. Speaking of champions, US champ Logan Paul won't be at Backlash despite his appearance on Raw, which saw him get confronted by Braun Strowman, who also won't be competing. Women's World Champion Becky Lynch won't be defending her title at Backlash, despite having been involved in a budding feud with Liv Morgan and Nia Jax in recent weeks. Both of these women also won't be at Backlash, and for Jax, who was chosen by SmackDown in the draft, this would have been her last chance to win the Women's World Championship. New WWE Speed Champion Ricochet won't be defending his title at the French PLE, and in a disappointment to French fans, Rey Mysterio will also not be competing in Lyon. Obviously, not everyone can get on the card, but with only 5 matches, it's safe to say more bouts could have happened, and who will you miss when watching WWE Backlash France? In a break from tradition, WWE has yet to reveal what city will host next year's WrestleMania, but it sounds like the company is finally ready to make an announcement. On Twitter Spaces, Triple H said this week that confirmation was coming very soon, and it's now being reported that an announcement will come during the Backlash PLE. Tonight's show will certainly be one to watch for fans with some of the company's top stars, and it appears that CM Punk will have a role for the upcoming French PLE. On social media, Jackie Redmond shared that she, Punk, and Big E will have a role, presumably as part of the pre-show panel, which is how the trio have worked in the past. Punk can't wrestle right now, but WWE is eager to keep him around as he always gains attention, and we're sure he'll have plenty to say as part of the Countdown to Backlash panel. We've got a major change from WWE's corporate side as well, as COO Brad Blum has tendered his resignation after over 17 years with the company. Blum was appointed COO following the launch of TKO last September, and it's reported that he left of his own volition and had not been forced out by anyone. Blum is named in Janelle Grant's lawsuit, but to be clear, he's not accused of any misconduct, and we'll have to see if anybody else follows Blum out of WWE. Since 1997, Michael Cole has worked for WWE as a commentator and had been paired with Corey Graves for years before recently moving to Raw to join Pat McAfee. Cole has previously stated that he plans on retiring when he turns 60 and has reportedly unloaded some of his responsibilities behind the scenes. PW Insider reports that Cole is no longer managing the announce teams behind the scenes, a role he has been doing for several years now as the veteran voice behind the desk. Instead, Cole will focus fully on his on-air work on Raw and at premium live events, and after close to 30 years with WWE, he's earned a lighter schedule. Since WrestleMania 40, Roman Reigns has neither been seen nor heard on WWE TV, and with his absence, Solo Sikoa has taken the reins as the head of the Bloodline. Sikoa has cast out Jimmy Uso from the group and has recruited Tama Tonga, while Paul Heyman continues to serve as the wise man, and Heyman let something huge slip on SmackDown. After Heyman issued a memo to Nick Aldis to cancel Sikoa and Tonga's match with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at Backlash, the SmackDown GM confronted Heyman to reject the idea. Following a heated argument that led to Aldis name-dropping Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman revealed that he had not spoken to Reigns since WrestleMania. Moreover, it was Heyman, not Reigns, who pulled the Tribal Chief's name from the draft, meaning Reigns had no input with the decision affecting his WWE TV status. Heyman's revelation certainly adds a new development to the ongoing Bloodline saga, all without Reigns, who's not expected back anytime soon. SmackDown saw the final SmackDown match for the New Catch Republic, who weren't selected by either brand during the TV draft, but picked up by Raw in the supplemental round. Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne went up against AOP, who had Scarlett, Karrion Kross, and Paul Ellering with them, and also had revenge in mind. It was the Brits who cost AOP their NXT tag title match at Spring Breakin', and the heels took out their frustrations by dominating the smaller opponents at every turn. This was more competitive and longer than expected, with Bate and Dunne doing a lot of selling, but they still managed to get in enough offense to give the French crowd hope. This went from feeling like it was going to be little more than a squash to a hard-fought match with AOP getting the win after a small assist from Scarlett and big interference from Karrion Kross. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins came out through the crowd in their old gear to take on tag champs A-Town Down Under in a match with four great athletes in different ways. The match had energy and some fun moments, but it was way too short, especially when compared to the AOP New Catch Republic match fans had just seen. Waller in theory retained the titles much to the crowd's dismay, and now it's likely time for new challengers to step up to the champions. In a dark match at SmackDown, Rey Mysterio sought some revenge on Carlito after the former US champion was revealed as the attacker of Dragon Lee. This was the pair's first singles match since October 2004, but you wouldn't know of the nearly two-decade gap as the pair showed great chemistry in the ring. In the end, it was Mysterio who got the win, much to the delight of the French crowd, and wearing the colors of the French flag was a nice touch from the WWE Hall of Famer. In recent weeks, WWE has locked down several big names to new contracts, including Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre, and now Seth Rollins is under a new deal. Fightful Select reports that Rollins receives a pay boost, and one WWE source was always confident a new deal would be reached, stating, "They're not going to let him go." Wade Keller added that the new deal is for 3 years, and fans can expect to see much more of Seth Rollins after he's recovered from his recent knee surgery. At AEW Dynasty, Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay put on an instant classic that was only dampened by an injury-scared Danielson during the match. This has led to Ospreay retiring the Stormdriver 91 after Danielson had to be attended to by officials in the ring, and fans haven't seen Bryan in the ring since then. According to Wade Keller, Bryan Danielson is taking time off, and the storyline explanation is that he suffered a neck injury because of Ospreay in their match. Well, that's just a story. Danielson is taking time off to rest after a period of intense wrestling, and it remains to be seen when his next match will be. Now, the 2024 WWE Draft saw several NXT superstars called to the main roster, and while Joe Gacy's name wasn't picked on either night, he may be moving very soon. PW Insider reports that Gacy was recently seen at WWE headquarters and is likely on his way to the main roster, as this visit was to discuss upcoming plans for his career. Gacy joined WWE in 2020 and has since been a prominent figure in NXT, known for his unique persona and engaging storylines, including a solid feud with Dijak this year. Now it seems WWE thinks Gacy is ready for the main roster, and it'll be interesting to see how his character fares in a much bigger setting than NXT. On SmackDown, LA Knight defeated Angel and had a huge announcement to make, as the megastar will be part of the King of the Ring tournament. Knight joins Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and reigning king Xavier Woods, as this year's tournament is proving to be an all-star gathering of WWE talent. Bobby Lashley had quite the offer to make to Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown, as the Almighty offered Hayes the help of the Pride, but Hayes wasn't interested. That's despite Hayes previously being teased as a member, but a lot has changed since then, including Melo turning heel. The former NXT champion also announced his role in the King of the Ring tournament, and we'll have to see if he and Lashley cross paths again, not as allies, but as adversaries. At WrestleMania 40, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller won the SmackDown Tag Team titles, which have since been rechristened the WWE Tag Team Championships. During a recent interview, Theory was asked about his WrestleMania moments, but things took a turn after the interviewer forgot Theory's big moment in 2023. The interviewer said that prior to this year, Theory's previous big Mania moment was getting stunned by Steve Austin in 2022, forgetting the US title defense Theory had last year. The irate Theory reminded the reporter that he beat John Cena at WrestleMania 39 and questioned if forgetting big moments is a thing that all French people do. Theory ended with a "this guy sucks" for good measure, as A-Town does not want anyone to forget his win, albeit a controversial one, over John Cena at WWE's Showcase of the Immortals. And we're ending with WWE Speed as the finals in the Speed Championship tournament took place, with Ricochet facing Johnny Gargano for a place in the history books. With a 5-minute time limit instead of the usual 3, the two fought fiercely, and Gargano was able to avoid a 630 splash and counter with a powerful super kick. In the final moments, though, Ricochet landed a lethal injection, securing his win and becoming the first ever WWE Speed Champion in the process. Ricochet was an early round draft pick for Monday Night Raw, and we'll have to see when the next tapings of matches takes place and how the one and only fares as WWE Speed Champion.